top of that, getting back to my point, is many of these roles are non-revenue generating roles that are being eliminated across the board. Could be talent and development. If a company is putting recruiting on hold, why do they need people in HR? They don't. If a company is cutting back, why do they need people in marketing and events? They don't. So the careers that I'm putting forth to you aren't always revenue generating, but they are imperative and critical for a lot of business success. And when I talk about sales, it's critical for business success. It helps with the overall bottom line. It helps with the reporting back to Wall Street in order for it to save people's jobs. It's a foundation for every company. Sales is, that is. This is the reason why I push sales so much on this channel. Not because I'm in it, it's because it's critical for all business. So consider it. And think about when you are getting into tech, what roles that you should get into to protect yourself whenever there's an economic downturn like we're experiencing now. Do you want to be in the marketing events? Do you want to be in HR and talent recruiting? Fantastic. If you are a great employee and do well, they're going to keep you on. But if you're doing this role and think that, you aren't going to be impacted when things happen, you got it twisted. When things happen, you're going to be one of the first to go. And I want you guys to think about that when you're thinking about your career in general. HR, parts of operations, customer success, they aren't revenue generating. And if you aren't helping a company retain revenue or bringing in more, you may be on the chopping block. And if you are in sales and you aren't performing, you're going to be in the chopping block too. I just wanted to say that as well. All right. Let's get over to PayPal. I wanted to talk about interview questions now. The most common interview questions, because many of you guys are going through the interview process right now. Many of you are going through the interview process right now. Or many of you are thinking about going that direction. And I just thought this article was a good way for me to provide some insights into, the most common interview questions that a company like PayPal asks and how to use the STAR method to answer the questions. Okay, one of the most well-known online payment platforms, PayPal, has become a desirable place to work for both technical and non-technical talent. The company not only has an above-average Glassdoor rating, which is important, guys, for you when you are doing research on a company. Check Glassdoor to see if the company has a good rating or not. Many of you ask the questions, Antoine, what company should I be looking for to get into tech sales? What company should I be looking for to do this role? What company should I be looking for? Well, you need to do the research, number one, but you need to look at companies that have a good Glassdoor rating for a good place to work. But ultimately, you want the company to align with whatever your values are. Think about that yourself first. If you care about trust, respect, transparency, and so forth, you want to make sure that your values align with what the company's values are. And the only way you're able to do that is by doing the research. But after you've done your research, make sure you check that company to see if they have a good Glassdoor rating. Okay? Make sure you check that company to see if they have a good Glassdoor rating. The company not only has an above average Glassdoor rating, but was acknowledged by the job review site as one of the best places to work in 2021. So whenever you are hopping to land an interview at PayPal or already have one on the calendar, it's a good idea to know what to expect. And guys, I'm gonna tell you like this, companies follow the same sort of recruitment and ask the same sort of questions. So this doesn't just apply to you wanting to work at a company like PayPal, but also to other companies as well. PayPal interviews process can seem daunting, especially if it's your first time interviewing with them. However, with the proper preparation and knowledge, you'll be able to ace the interview and get your dream job. Research PayPal's history. That's the first thing you should do for any company. Research the company's history. This is what our brother Brian did in order for him to gain that second interview or land that second interview for the SDR role that he's applied to. research the company's history. Okay? Here's a breakdown of the company's interview process, and many people or many companies' process is very similar. Step 1, apply or be recruited. You have to apply to the site directly. Or if a recruiter reaches out to you on your LinkedIn, that's how the process is initiated. Now, if you don't have a LinkedIn, if it's up to date, how is a recruiter going to reach out to you? That's why I constantly talk about having your LinkedIn up to date. Many of you guys who are wanting to make the transition and don't have your LinkedIn update, you're behind. You are behind. Get your LinkedIn updated. You want people knocking on your door. When you don't have a LinkedIn and you don't have it updated, it's almost as if like your house is not on the block. If you have a block with a whole bunch of houses on it, house here, house here, house here, but this is your house and you don't have your LinkedIn, it's like the shit's gone. It's a gap. So make sure you have your LinkedIn updated, guys. Screening call. If the candidate makes it past the first step, they will get a screening call with a PayPal's HR team. This call has two purposes: to make sure that both parties are interested in moving forward and to confirm basic information about the candidate. Okay? So the first step is to apply or be recruited. The second step is a screening call. Typically, this is the first step in the interview process to make sure that you are a good fit and they know more about you and you're interested. They're probably going to tell you a little bit more about the company, the role, and so forth, maybe even salary. The third step is a phone interview. This is where you would talk to your hiring manager about the specifics of the role, get more technical questions, and learn about what life at PayPal is like. You'll be asked more job and experience specific questions to determine whether or not you are worthy of an on-site interview. 4, on-site interviews. Once you pass the phone screen, you'll be invited for an on-site interview. They want to see you in person. They want to see how you conduct yourself, how professional you are. While historically the final step of the process was an in-person interview, PayPal is now conducting these final interviews remotely. This includes 5 rounds of interviews that incorporate both behavioral and technical questions, which we outline below. It's a long interview process to work for a company. And that's where my brother Dorsey was telling me yesterday, he has his 3rd and 4th one set up. He's like, damn, Antoine, man, these companies are taking you to the ringer to get on board. Yeah, they are. They want to make sure that you're a good fit. And that's what companies are doing these days. So they're saying use the STAR method to answer questions. Behavioral questions are designed to gauge how you handle problems in the past, so your interview can get a feel for how you will handle similar situations in the future. Your past behaviors almost predict your future behaviors. That's why a lot of people in personal life, they say, oh, well, you can't just ban somebody doing something because of what they did in the past. Well, yes, they can, especially if they have consistent behavioral issues in the past. To effectively answer these questions, we suggest following the STAR method, which helps interviewees answer questions to their best ability. We break down what STAR means for you here. The situation is what the S stands for. The task is what the T stands for. The A is what your action is. The result is what result did you get. The STAR method is known. Look it up. I don't need to get into all the specifics of it on this video today, but it's a well-known interview technique that you should use to just about every one of your interviews. I would say almost 98% of your interviews, you want to use this method. Okay? And here are the 4 common interview questions and how you might answer them. Tell me about yourself. This is a common question at most interviews, so you should already have an answer up your sleeve. Be prepared. So this is often the first question you'll be asked. It's crucial to spend some time on it to really nail it. Many of the candidates make the mistake of talking through their entire life story and sharing a bunch of information that your interview doesn't give a damn about. Okay? You want to specifically relate it to the actual job and how you will be able to help the company, not what your dog did yesterday, and not what your interests are and the things that you've done in your previous career or what you have an interest in and you do in real estate and all this other shit. Nobody cares about that. Talk about yourself and how you're going to be able to contribute to the role that you are applying for. This especially is true with more experienced hires who like to turn back the clock to their first couple of jobs out of school. Your answer to this question should not be longer than 2 minutes. If you can get the point across in less time, even better. The key here is to highlight your most impressive experience and end with why you're looking for a new opportunity, or more specifically, why you're considering PayPal, okay? And it gives you an example in this article, so check it out. Tell me about a time you've made a mistake at work and how you corrected it. While we will always put your best foot forward, your potential employer always wants to understand where you struggled in the past. Be transparent, guys. Struggling is a part of the process. Making mistakes is a part of the process. But how do you tell a story and what you've learned from those mistakes that you've made? It's a behavioral question, and you should be able to demonstrate that and talk about how you've handled that mistake and what you've learned from it. Number 3, what do you understand by website payment standards? This is more of a technical question, so you have to understand what the company does and do your research. Number 4, tell me about a time you had to take initiative on a project. When were you proactive? When did you take accountability and responsibility and proven ownership and shown ownership? It's another behavioral question, guys. And if you go through this article, you'll be able to see exactly some of the canned answers that they give you. You can adjust them to your needs and so forth. But I thought I wanted to share that with you guys because it's important. As you're going through your interview process, you want to make sure you're using the STAR method. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. The situation that you were in, the task that you had, the action that you took, then what did it accomplish? The results, guys. Results are important. Results are important.